Hello everyone! In this video, we're going to talk about Hackstack. So I've already signed into a student account, and your students can see Hackstack if they just change the URL to be /AI. So the first time your students check out Hackstack, they're going to see a blank page, and there's a few different things that I want to point out. So have them first click the New Project button, and then have them select Learn to Use from the drop-down menu. More specifically, they're going to be learning to use GPT-4. Now, they can select from a variety of descriptors in the To section of our drop-down menus. So I'm going to select Create, and then I'm going to select an epic flyer. Feel free to encourage your students to check out some of the other scenarios that we have. Click Let's Go, and you'll see a teaching assistant jumps in to help your students think about all the ways in which they can prompt generative AI for certain responses. So we're going to learn how to make a flyer with AI. Click Continue, and our teaching assistant asks us to think a little bit about our first prompt. So what's the flyer for? Describe it. You'll see that we kind of have some options for your students to select. They highlight different things that your students should consider when prompting the AI. For example, these first two look pretty similar. However, the second one includes more information about where the car wash might be located. So maybe I'm a student and I think that sounds good because I'm being more specific. So I select that. However, the teaching assistant will jump in and kind of highlight maybe some of the things they hadn't considered. For example, it's not a great idea to include personal information in prompts. So I'll select the first one, which is very similar to the second one. However, it doesn't have that personal information in it. It looks like we're good to go. So let's click Continue. As you can see, the AI has some preloaded response that your students can examine by clicking Open in Editor. And this will take your students to another website called StackBlitz that just renders the output that our AI creates. So this is what our fundraiser flyer currently looks like. It's a good start. However, I'm sure that there are things your students would want to change. So I encourage your students to continue interacting with the teaching assistant and pressing continue to see all the ways in which we can change the way this flyer looks. So the other element of Hackstack that I hope your students encourage is actually making something with your accounts. So click on New Project, and this time select Use. All right. Right now we have a few different models. I'm going to stick with GPT-4 for this particular example. And in this case, they're going to make a web page. So let's click Let's Go and see how to use this. So here our teaching assistant pops back into play. And this time they kind of help your student get started. So as they can see, the prompt might start with write the code for a single page website that, so I'm going to copy that. We'll start that here with our first prompt. I'm going to say that describes orange cats. I have an orange cat. I love orange cats. So let's see if we can make a website about orange cats. So this is actually happening in real time. We're not obviously loading pre-baked responses. So this can take a hot second. Your students will need to practice patience. But just like we saw with the scenario, we'll hopefully be able to render this output and see an awesome website about orange cats. right, it looks like it's completed the HTML side of things, and now it's going to give the page some styling. So it's working on the CSS right now. All right, and just like we did before, we're going to click open an editor and hopefully see an awesome web page about orange cats. Ooh, look at that. It even thought a little bit about the color scheme being orange. Now, there are some problems with this output, but we can definitely continue to prompt Hackstack to make some changes, right? Like, for example, this bottom bar seems to be cutting off some of the facts that we have about orange cats. So we might prompt the AI to move this down. Anyways, there's lots of things that your students can do with Hackstack, and we can't wait to see what they make. One last thing before I go. When your students are maybe thinking about keeping their projects organized, they can rename the file that they've created or the project that they've created by just clicking that little pencil, right? So in this case, you might say web page about orange cats. And that will be something that they can see every time they log into Hackstack. Happy coding!